Gently close your eyes and feel the soft contact between your body and your bed. Notice the coolness of the air in your room and the fading hum of the world outside. Right now, there is nowhere you need to be. There is nothing you need to solve or think about. Just focus on the natural rhythm of your breath. With every exhale, imagine the crowded thoughts in your mind turning into stardust, scattering into the darkness of the universe. Now, imagine the walls of your room becoming invisible, finding yourself beneath the stars in a state of infinite tranquility. A cosmic journey is about to begin. While you rest in deep silence right now, this massive blue sphere you are on never actually stands still. The Earth carries you through the depths of space, rotating around an invisible axis at a staggering speed of hundreds of kilometers per hour. Yet this is only the first step of the grand dance. As we are wrapped in the tranquility of this rotation, we are also gliding around the sun in a dizzying orbit at 30 kilometers per second. Our sun is not a stationary harbor either. It is on its own journey. It moves through the glowing spirals of the Milky Way at 230 kilometers per second, and our entire galaxy flows together toward the heart of a massive galactic cluster. From the smallest subatomic particle to the most majestic star clusters in the sky, everything obeys the ancient and mysterious law of the universe: rotation. The rhythm within a single proton and the billion-year spiral of a galaxy tell the same grand story. Nature whispers to us that life never stops, weaving these spinning patterns into every corner of existence. If you wish to explore this silent and magnificent mechanics of the universe with us and take your mind on a peaceful journey, you can join this adventure by subscribing and support us by liking this tranquil moment. Now let us glide toward the deepest origins of this universal rhythm, back to the moment when time itself was but a child. Let this question echo in our minds. Why? Why does everything, from a speck of dust to colossal galaxies, rotate as if performing an invisible waltz? Was this cosmic spin etched into the very soul of the universe at its first cry of birth? If we could turn time back like an hourglass and reach that first spark of the Big Bang, would we find that ancient movement already set in motion? Tonight, we will listen to the whispers of that invisible force, the rotation that shapes everything in existence. Together, we will examine the birth pangs of stars, the perfect balance of planetary orbits, and the silent guardian that protects life on Earth, the magnetic field. This is not merely a story of movement. It is the tale of nature's most fundamental signature. For the universe does not simply drift in the dark void. It spins incessantly, as if breathing. Even if you feel completely still in your bed right now, you are a passenger on a magnificent journey. The Earth beneath you completes its rotation every 24 hours. Carrying you thousands of kilometers every second into the peaceful embrace of the unknown. Look at that silvery light shining in the silence of the night. The moon. It is not a motionless lantern hanging in the sky, as it might seem. The moon completes its journey around the Earth approximately every 27 days. Locked into a flawless gravitational waltz that has lasted for billions of years. These two ancient companions, Earth and Moon, run through the darkness of space at a dizzying speed, as if holding hands around the sun. It is a speed so immense that it could cross the entire diameter of the Earth in just 7 minutes. Yet it is so smooth and peaceful. Even our bright star, the Sun, is not a stationary harbor in this cosmic sea. The Sun is but one of hundreds of billions of lights orbiting the heart of the Milky Way galaxy. Like the hand of a colossal clock, it completes its galactic circuit every 230 million years. And the Milky Way itself never rests for a moment. Our galaxy, along with thousands of its neighbors, flows silently in the invisible river of gravity toward that mysterious and vast region of space called the Great Attractor. In those very moments when you think you are standing perfectly still, you are actually traveling at a speed that defies the limits of your imagination. Movement is not an exception in the universe. It is existence itself. Even in our sleep, we are eternal travelers moving among the stars. As we have seen, every atom of existence is in motion, from our planet spinning on its axis to the vast galaxies drifting through the dark void. Everything is part of a silent dance. But why? Why don't celestial bodies emerge in a state of perfect stillness? Why does a colossal cloud of gas, instead of remaining like a motionless statue, begin to spin as if turned by an invisible hand? The answer lies within the simplest and most elegant secret of the universe. Motion never disappears. It only takes on a new form. Let us travel back billions of years. Imagine a massive cloud of gas and dust, a cosmic cradle, drifting in the desolate depths of space, long before stars and planets were awake, slowly starting to collapse under its own weight. This cradle is never perfectly uniform. It always holds a tiny imperfection, a subtle imbalance. One side is just a hair denser. One corner moves just a breath faster. When these imperceptible differences meet the force of gravity, they create a grand twist. As the cloud collapses inward, this minute rotation gains momentum. Much like an ice skater pulling their arms toward their body to spin faster, the universe accelerates as it shrinks. This is one of nature's most powerful laws. Once that tiny spark begins, it transforms into a spiral that lasts for billions of years. Picture in your mind a skater gliding on the ice, spinning on their axis. With arms outstretched, they rotate slowly. But the moment they pull their arms toward their body, they suddenly accelerate without any external force. This is not magic, but one of the most fundamental laws of the universe. The closer a mass moves toward its center, the faster its inherent rotation becomes. Billions of years ago, the colossal gas clouds in the depths of space obeyed this exact same law. As gravity shrank the cloud, that initial, barely perceptible twist transformed into a massive vortex. As the radius of the cloud decreased, the speed of rotation reached breathtaking levels. Stars and planets did not sprout from absolute silence, but at the heart of this immense motion. We call this invisible force the conservation of angular momentum. It is not a rule discovered later, but a sacred inheritance that matter receives from the very first moment it begins to move. Once it starts, the rotation resists change. In the desolate, airless void of space, there is no friction to slow this spin, no barrier to stop it. Therefore, the movement that began with that first spark has been preserved for billions of years, reaching us today. Even the solar system we inhabit today is a peaceful remnant of that ancient and colossal storm, still spinning, Exactly 4.5 billion years ago, the land you rest upon today was nothing more than a colossal ring of gas and dust drifting in the desolation of space. At the center of this cosmic cradle, gravity hungrily pulled the densest parts inward, toward itself. With the compression of this fiery heart, the sun, the master of our system, awakened. The remaining dusty material flattened into the elegant arms of a spinning disk, forming the seeds of the planets. Every world inherited its own share of that first great spin. Looking at the sky today, it is not hard to understand why our sibling planets glide in nearly the same plane and direction. For our solar system is, quite literally, the fossilized memory of that ancient rotation. Yet even in this grand order of the universe, stories sometimes take unexpected turns. Not everything spins in perfect harmony. Some planets tilt like weary travelers. Take the giant Uranus, for instance. It rolls through space, spinning almost entirely on its side, as if in an eternal slumber. This is likely the result of a violent collision billions of years ago that knocked its axis over forever. Our neighbor Venus, on the other hand, stubbornly rotates backward, unlike all its other siblings, as if trying to turn back time. Still, even these chaotic collisions never erase the fundamental law of the universe: rotation. They only redirected it. Whenever gravity gathers matter together, rotation emerges naturally, like a breath. The only way to stop this movement would be to balance every atom in the universe with a perfect and impossible stillness. But the universe chooses not to stand still. It always chooses to glide and to spin. Nature, since the day it began, has never once chosen silence or absolute stillness, not even for a single moment. Therefore, the fact that everything, from a microscopic speck of dust to the most majestic galaxy in the sky, spins, is not a mere accident of physics. It is the very way the universe organizes its soul. It is how it brings itself into being. The cosmos does not need a reason to rotate. Rather, rotation is the only reason everything exists as it does today. Rotation is not a minor detail left behind the scenes. It is the most creative force, deciding how objects appear, how they survive, and what path they follow in the infinite void of the universe. Let us begin at the smallest scale. Imagine a newborn star. If that star did not begin to spin on its axis, its massive gravity would ruthlessly crush it inward, compressing it until it became a single point. But here, rotation steps in like an invisible and compassionate support. It creates a delicate balance against that immense gravitational pressure, flattening gas and dust into a flat, elegant disk around the young star. This disk is the birthplace of moons, planets, and our home. Look at our own world, at the tracks left by this speed. The Earth is not a perfect sphere. It is like an ancient statue sculpted by velocity. It is approximately 43 kilometers wider at the equator than at the poles, as it rotates at a dizzying speed exceeding 1,600 kilometers per hour. Centrifugal force gently pushes the world outward. This silent competition with gravity's powerful inward pull gives our planet its unique, slightly flattened silhouette. We sleep peacefully upon this magnificent balance, within a speed that reshapes us every second. If this delicate balance did not exist, the ground we walk upon and the climate we breathe would be alien and harsh, beyond recognition. Rotation determines not just the appearance of a planet, but how its heart beats, whether it will live or die. Let us descend into the depths of our Earth, to its glowing, molten core. The liquid metals there, driven by our planet's rapid rotation, create a massive turbulence. This movement gives birth to a colossal magnetic shield, the magnetosphere, which protects us from deadly solar radiation and cosmic storms. The true hero, allowing us to sleep peacefully today, keeping our oceans in place and our atmosphere wrapped around us, is this ceaseless rotation within our core. Our neighbor Mars, however, tells a much sadder tale. Mars rotates more slowly than Earth and lost much of its ancient internal heat very early on. As its heart cooled, its magnetic field weakened, leaving it defenseless. Solar winds stripped away its once promising atmosphere like a tattered veil, dried its rivers, and condemned it to a crimson silence. The same sun, the same beginning. But the speed of rotation wrote two entirely different destinies for these siblings. One became a green paradise for life, while the other remained a desolate memory in the sky. Now let us turn our gaze even higher to the vast world of stars. Stars, too, are creations of their own rotation. A star that rotates slowly and with dignity continues to burn steadily, like an eternal lamp for billions of years. However, an ambitious and fast-spinning star turns into a turbulent and unstable storm within itself. When it reaches the end of its life and runs out of fuel, this immense rotational speed, instead of letting it fade quietly, can tear it apart. This violent end gives birth to one of the most extreme objects in the universe, the neutron star. This celestial body, compressed to the size of a city yet as heavy as the sun, spins hundreds of times per second, shining like a cosmic lighthouse in the dark void. Everything is a result of that rotation in the first spark. From the smallest to the largest, the universe clings to life by spinning. When the majestic lives of stars come to an end, they sometimes leave behind the most precise and mysterious remnants in the universe. These stellar corpses spin hundreds of times per second around their axes, firing massive jets of energy into the dark void. We call them pulsars. They are the silent and loyal lighthouses in the desolate seas of the universe. The rotation of pulsars is so unwavering and stable that scientists consider them the most precise clocks in the universe. So much so, they rely on the rhythm of these ancient beacons to measure the passage of time in distant galaxies. Yet sometimes rotation reaches its absolute limit, when gravity becomes so intense that no force can resist it. We encounter the greatest mystery of the universe, that dark doorway from which even light cannot escape. The black hole. A black hole is not merely an insatiable void that pulls matter in. Its inconceivable rotational speed bends the delicate fabric of space and time like dough. This massive vortex traps everything around it in an invisible current known as frame dragging. In these regions, even light loses its way, and time abandons all the rules we know, growing heavy. This is the ultimate proof of how rotation shapes reality at its very edge. Rotation builds stars, protects planets, gives galaxies their mesmerizing spiral forms, and ultimately bends space-time itself like a work of art. Every shining ring, every elegant galactic curve, and every stable orbit we see in the sky today is the result of matter spinning for billions of years to find its own balance. The universe was not designed to stand still, but to glide forever within this magnificent rhythm. When we speak of the mesmerizing beauty of the universe, we are truly speaking of our admiration for this grand monument of rotation. The cosmos is not a frozen portrait. It is a magnificent stage that comes alive at every moment. For absolute stillness would mean an end for the universe, a collapse into itself and total annihilation. Instead, nature chooses to dance. From the smallest atom to the most majestic star, every entity is sealed into an eternal and perfect rhythm. And we are both the silent witnesses and inseparable parts of this magnificent ballet. We journey within a home that spins on its axis, around a star that radiates light, and inside a galaxy that traces spirals through the void. Perhaps even the universe itself is tracing a colossal circle that we have yet to discover. In this grand theater of existence, no movement is without purpose. No energy is ever wasted. Everything bows to those invisible, yet unbreakable rules that are surprisingly simple and elegant. This is the perfect order within the chaos. The first rule sustaining this magnificent order of the universe is inertia. It is, in essence, a kind of honesty and loyalty of matter, the tendency of an object to keep doing exactly what it is doing at that moment. If a speck of dust is at rest, it wishes to remain at rest forever. If it is in motion, it continues along its path without deviating by even a millimeter until an obstacle arises to stop it. Imagine a spacecraft launched into orbit decades ago. It glides around the Earth without the need for fuel, an engine, or any new propulsion. In the vast vacuum of the cosmos, there is no air friction to slow it down, no wind to stop it. A motion once started simply continues forever in the silent void of the universe. This is the greatest promise that matter makes to time. Then comes the true master of this silent architecture, gravity. However, gravity does not merely pull objects inward with brute force. It gently bends motion, trapping them in orbits. When a planet falls toward a star, it usually does not crash and perish. Its tremendous sideways velocity transforms this fall into an eternal cycle, an orbit. This is why we rotate safely upon the Earth. It is an eternal tug of war between falling towards a center and flying away into the infinite void. Neither gravity nor speed wins. The result is that startling and elegant balance we call an orbit. This balance is the greatest tightrope act of the universe. But the core rule that keeps the universe in this perfect rhythm is the conservation of angular momentum. According to this rule, the total amount of rotation in a system can neither be destroyed nor created from nothing. It is simply passed from hand to hand, from star to planet. The universe guards this rotational energy like a sacred relic. That is why that first spark from billions of years ago still lives on today in the arms of galaxies, in the rotation of our world, and even in your own calm breaths. Imagine an ice skater spinning on stage, a massive star collapsing into itself, and a galaxy billions of light years wide. No matter how distant they may seem at first glance, they all obey the same ancient law. If an entity shrinks and pulls toward its center, its rotation accelerates, as if struck by an invisible whip. If it expands and stretches its arms outward, its movement slows down like falling into a heavy sleep. This mathematical balance of the universe is the bridge that connects the smallest and most colossal parts of existence. The same law of physics that governs the dizzying spin of an electron at the heart of an atom also controls the vortex of massive galaxies. It is the universal and singular language of motion, a poem whispered in the same dialect in every corner of the cosmos. Even the most violent collisions are not enough to break this sacred rule. When galaxies with their colossal bodies crash into one another, the stars within them rarely touch. Space is so vast that they simply pass by each other, yet their massive rotational forces, their angular momentum, intermingle. From this chaotic encounter, new and gargantuan elliptical giants are born. Shapes change, orbits are rewritten, but that initial motion never vanishes. Every new structure still rotates within itself. Each one continues to carry that eternal momentum like an inheritance. The universe wastes no movement. It only redistributes it, reshapes it, and continues the dance with a new rhythm. In these deep stories of time and space, feel your mind slowly quieting and moving in step with this ancient rhythm of the universe. If these silent discoveries bring a piece of peace to your soul, we invite you to become a permanent traveler on this journey. You can join us by subscribing to our channel and help us reach more people with these fairy tale-like truths of the universe by liking our video. Together, we will continue to walk among the stars. Every rotation in the universe is a sacred legacy, a silent gift passed from one manifestation of matter to the next. From the very first subatomic particles to the colossal galaxies that adorn the heavens like jewels, nothing is ever wasted, and nothing truly stands still. Momentum simply takes on a new form, telling a new story. The heavy, peaceful vortex of a collapsing dust cloud eventually transforms into the elegant dance of a planet on its axis. That planet's rhythm joins the orbit of a star, and the star's rotation merges into the majestic spiral of a galaxy. This is why, even after 13.8 billion years since the Big Bang, the universe continues to spin with that same primordial fervor and awe. That first subtle imbalance, that tiny and miraculous spark of motion that started it all, still echoes today in the furthest reaches of the galaxies. Every single day on our planet, every sunrise we witness is a living trace of that ancient movement. We breathe within a cosmos that remembers, its memory woven with stardust. The universe never forgets motion. It holds it with care, transforms it, and recycles it back into the cycle of life over and over again. It is like a magnificent cosmic engine that never stops, never runs out of fuel, and never shuts down. This eternal machine is powered not by dark mystery, but by the breathtaking, simple, and unwavering elegance of physics. Rotation is both the architect of order and the bringer of chaos within the universe. The same primordial force that shapes stars and worlds can, with equal ease, tear them into the depths of oblivion. No movement in the vacuum of space exists in a state of perfect balance. Every cosmic touch, every gravitational whisper leaves behind tiny imperfections. Over the span of billions of years, these flaws evolve into dramas that build the most magnificent and wild scenes of existence. This is a true reflection of the universe's nature, as creative as an artist, yet as destructive as a storm. Think of Saturn's silvery rings. From a distance, they appear like a shimmering silk fabric frozen in the silence of the sky. But behind this stillness lies the endless turbulence of billions of fragments of ice and rock. Each piece of debris is pushed and pulled by the invisible hands of nearby moons, following its own sorrowful path. Some fragments are pulled together in an embrace, while others are cast away into the infinite void. What emerges is a masterpiece of balance, born from chaos, a colossal frozen storm made of billions of pieces held together by rotation. This fierce principle also conducts much more violent systems. When the orbits of two stars entwine like vines, gases torn from one flow toward the other, like a glowing river. This is a vortex of matter spinning at incredible speeds that defy the limits of the mind. The friction within that disk heats the matter to such immense temperatures that it glows with X-rays. The blinding radiance we witness around the dark and silent hearts of black holes is the masterpiece of this eternal rotation. In the deepest reaches of darkness, around a spinning black hole, it is not just matter that bends, but the very invisible and delicate fabric of space itself. This natural phenomenon, which science calls frame dragging, is a cosmic vortex where reality flows like a massive river, dragging everything in its path, along with it. In that place, stillness is a mere illusion. Even light is forced into a helpless spiral, trapped by the center of that infinite gravity. It is a breaking point where motion imprisons motion, and chaos becomes the fundamental law of existence. Colossal galaxies are also part of this immense tension. Those famous spiral arms may appear calm and serene from a distance, but they are actually arenas of tension where gravitational waves, colliding gas clouds, and constant star formation compete in silence. Yet, a great mystery lies hidden here. Some galaxies rotate around their axes with such dizzying speed that the stars on their outermost edges should be hurled into the dark void like stones from a sling. But these stars do not leave their places. They are held together by an invisible, compassionate hand. That mysterious and ghostly mass, known as dark matter, which prevents this magnificent rotation from flying apart. The universe has hidden its greatest secrets and strongest balances within this invisible, silent force, right at the heart of that never-ending spin. Rotation does not merely bring grace to the universe. It continuously tests the fragile boundaries of existence. If this cosmic dance slows even slightly, gravity triumphs, and everything collapses inward, condemned to its own darkness. If this speed reaches an uncontrollable level, the system breaks its own bonds and flings its entire being into the desolate void like a cloud of dust. In this search lasting billions of years, nature somehow finds that sharp knife edge, the perfect and delicate balance, time and time again. Even our solar system, which we watch in peace today, carries the deep and healed scars of that ancient chaos. The massive craters on the dusty surface of the moon or the crimson plains of Mars are the fossilized evidence of a turbulent era when orbits were not yet settled. Planets shifted their positions, and gargantuan celestial bodies collided like giants. Yet, from all these storms and collisions emerged that magnificent mechanism, functioning today as silently and precisely as the gears of a clock. This is the ultimate reminder that universal order does not rise in spite of chaos, but directly from the heart of chaos itself and its relentless rotation. Rotation is not a guarantee of harmony. It is a profound test of balance. Every world in motion, every star in orbit, walks that invisible thin line between control and collapse. This very tension, this fragile equilibrium, is what makes the universe feel so alive and breathing. Usually, rotation feels familiar, like the reassuring rhythm of a spinning planet or the slow drift of a galaxy. But when you push this speed to its absolute limits, physics begins to behave like nothing we know. The laws stretch, and the deepest secrets of nature are revealed. Consider the neutron star, the somber yet magnificent remnant of a dying giant, a mass heavier than our sun, compressed into a sphere only 20 kilometers wide, the size of a single city. This immense collapse forces its rotation to unimaginable speeds. Some neutron stars spin hundreds of times every second. Their magnetic fields are so powerful they fire colossal beams of radiation from their poles into the dark void. On Earth, we detect these pulses like a cosmic lighthouse blinking with perfect rhythm. Every pulse marks a single rotation, the most precise heartbeat in the silence of space. We call these celestial beacons pulsars. They are the most perfect natural clocks ever discovered in the universe. So much so that even the most advanced atomic clocks on Earth may drift over time when compared to the millimetric precision of these stars. Yet neutron stars are only the beginning of this cosmic journey. If you spin a star fast enough, gravity wins that final battle, and those mysterious portals, black holes, emerge. This is where rotation becomes truly extraterrestrial, where the laws of physics are bent like paper. A spinning black hole, known as a Kerr black hole, can rotate at speeds approaching the speed of light. At this point, space itself begins to twist like water in a whirlpool. This phenomenon, which science calls frame dragging, is not a metaphor. If you were in orbit around a rotating black hole, even if you tried to remain perfectly still, space-time itself would rotate with you and carry you along in its relentless current. We call this special region the ergosphere. Here, motion is no longer a choice, but a necessity. Even light is forced to spin within this massive vortex. The ergosphere exists through the black hole's rotation. Theoretically, if this spin were to stop, the ergosphere would vanish and the black hole's entire structure would change. Yet, every black hole we have detected continues to rotate at those dizzying speeds, completing a turn in less than a millisecond. The energy locked in this rotation can rival the total power output of entire galaxies. In fact, those gargantuan plasma jets stretching for thousands of light years are powered not just by infalling matter, but by the pure rotational energy of the black hole itself. From this colossal scale, let us now descend into the heart of the smallest particles, the atoms. In the world of electrons, protons, and neutrons, there is also spin. But this is not like a spinning billiard ball in our minds. Quantum spin is an unchanging property etched into the identity, the soul of the particles. Everything from the magnetic pull of magnets to the complex balance of chemistry, and even the unshakable structure of matter, is a creation of this mysterious rotation. If particles did not possess this intrinsic spin, atoms could not exist as they do today. The world could not maintain its form and would dissolve into a blur of particles. From the smallest to the largest, everything holds together, breathes, and continues to exist thanks to this ancient rotation. Without that microscopic spin at the quantum level, no matter as we know it could ever exist. From the smallest subatomic particle to the massive black holes that swallow even light, spin is the secret seal that defines all things. It shapes every visible structure and the mystery behind the unseen. This immense force that holds the universe together whispers a humble truth at those far edges where our understanding ends. When motion reaches the staggering limit of light speed and spin begins to drag the very fabric of time along with it, we encounter a simple truth that challenges the boundaries of our minds. The universe does not merely rotate within space-time, it rotates space-time itself. like a vast river. This is perhaps the most difficult reality for our minds to grasp, yet it reflects the most fundamental mechanism at the heart of the cosmos. Everything, at its deepest and most basic level, participates in this eternal, universal dance. And you, right now, by attuning to this shared rhythm of stars and atoms, are drifting into a peaceful sleep within the reassuring, infinite embrace of the universe. Now, feel your mind slowly drifting back from this vast cosmic journey, returning to the comfort of your room, your bed, and your own body. Let the galaxies, stars, and black holes remain in your mind only as distant and peaceful glows, while you lie here perfectly still upon the reassuring weight of the earth. You continue to be a part of that eternal and colossal dance. Every cell of your body, the mysterious spin within your atoms, and the rhythm of your breath are in perfect harmony with the ancient silence of the universe. The world outside will continue to rotate, and the stars will glide in their orbits. But for you, everything has finally settled. Your thoughts are slowly dispersing like the last bits of stardust vanishing in the night sky. Surrender yourself to the compassionate arms of the darkness and the deep, dreamless river of sleep. Under these reassuring laws of the universe, you are safe at the most fundamental level. Good night,